Hello everybody and welcome back to another video about Dwarf Fortress. This is kind of a news update, but it's also kind of an extension of last week's. Of course, these are from Bay 12 Games and KitFox. This one is covering something that I think is kind of interesting. It's an extension of a topic from a very long time ago, and something that was shown quite brilliantly in the gameplay that was released last week. So the first thing that I would like to cover is a topic that you might not be familiar with if you've never played Dwarf Fortress. It's called vermin. Vermin are small creatures that are almost impossible to see, as they only appear for a couple of seconds at a time, or even, in Dwarf Fortress's case, a couple of frames at a time. Vermin are normally seen as a single pixel in the vanilla game, but are showing up as multiple framed animations in the Steam version. Vermin are small creatures. These can be things from hamsters to rats to mice to bees to various different insects, termites, and including larger bats and various other creatures, lizards as well, and various other things. These creatures have several uses. They can be captured by animal trappers in small cage traps using a zone, and they can also be kept as pets by the dwarves. They can also be constructed in cages and kept in rooms and to create a sort of zoo. You can also purchase them from traders already in cages and already tamed in some cases and allow them to fly around or run around your fort. Certain dwarves can dislike certain types of vermin. A dwarf can perhaps hate snails or love hamsters. And if they hate them, they get bad moods if they see too many of them around. I've seen dwarves get disgusted by worms, for example, that tend to crowd around pigs. Now, in the cavern footage shown over the past week, we see a whole bunch of little vermin, which I'm going to go and point out. Of course, also, dwarves can pick up their dead bodies and use them as a pretty powerful projectile weapon if they're highly skilled at miscellaneous objects. Now, before I say anything else, I would like to shout out Mary the Fur, who was the first to point this out in my Discord. I didn't actually notice them myself on the first pass-through, as they are tiny and only pop up for a few frames at a time. But what Mary the Fur was able to deduce is that not only were they present in a lot of spots, but they also had multiple frames of animation, as you can see here. So you might be wondering, why is Blind making a dedicated video to the little guys that eat my food in stockpiles and show up around livestock? Well, I think it's just an example of how far along the game actually is, at least as far as Fortress mode goes. These creatures do have many benefits and uses in adventure mode as well. They can be captured and kept as pets. They can be thrown at enemies, and they can be eaten if dwarves are starving. I think it's just proof of how far along the game is, and I think it's why they're showing gameplay. It's because Dwarf Fortress is currently showing in a pretty completed state. Tarn did mention that currently the artists are primarily working on Forgotten Beasts in the most recent future of the Fortress, which I did a roundup of the other week. I honestly believe that Dwarf Fortress's Fortress mode is getting pretty far along. I wonder how many more deep fun things they still have left before that mode is in a relatively complete state. Of course, this still leaves the question marks of Legends mode and Adventure mode, because we haven't even had a glimpse of what Adventure mode could possibly look like, and I know that this isn't something that many of you are worried about, but I myself am very concerned about what Classic is going to look like. We haven't even seen an update about that in, well, ever. So I would like to know what the ASCII graphics are going to look like with the new UI that's been worked on here. Is it going to be a relatively complete looking thing? Are we even going to have colors, or is it just going to be the ASCII of old? I don't know. Regardless, I thought that this video was interesting, and Mary the Fur on Discord really wanted me to make a video about it. So here I am showing off a bunch of little tiny critters that were present in the video released. What do you think of this? How do you like them? I think they look awesome, considering the only thing that we previously were aware of that had multiple frames of animation was cheese. Quite literally. You can dig into the interviews I did with Tarn if you want to find out more about dwarven cheese and its various nightmarish effects. I wonder what other things are going to have multiple frames of animation and how many things they're going to sneak in. I don't care about smooth movement personally, as I don't feel the game needs it whatsoever. I'm curious about what you think about the vermin and their multiple frames of animation. I think it makes them stand out a heck of a lot more. They currently do kind of switch between various dots to make them more obvious in the vanilla game. They appear, sometimes they will have a separate dot and then they will disappear. But they aren't really something you start to notice until you've been playing the game for quite a while. But here, they stand out immediately. What do you think? I look forward to cleaning up their little bodies and putting them in refuse piles. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more like it, there's a ton of them on my YouTube channel. I also stream 5 days a week. I take Mondays and Fridays off. If you're watching this as it goes live, I'm currently on vacation, so there might be a little break in videos. I'm only gone for 4 days, though, so I will be back on Tuesday. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.